Welcome, everyone. My name is Nevin K, or Nevin Kamath, and I am here with the Resist Trump Campaign's podcast, or the Resist Trump podcast. Our credo at the Resist Trump Campaign is that we make it easier and a little more fun for activists to resist Trump. The methodology that we're using in our work, in our campaign, is referred to kind of collectively as lawful, nonviolent civil resistance of Trump and his enablers. That includes things like protests, boycotts, demonstrations, all things that are covered by the First Amendment. Our vision is a thriving democracy free from authoritarian control. And it is my pleasure to join you today as the director of the Resist Trump campaign, and also to be joined by my co-host, Matt. Matt, I'll let you introduce yourself if you'd like.
Sure. Thanks, Nev. My name is Matt Koesters, and I am the founder of Fortify Democracy, and I'm also a pro-bono advisor to the Resist Trump campaign, serving on both the marketing and strategy and risk committees within the campaign. Fortify Democracy is something I founded a couple months ago because I am also all about stopping authoritarianism in the United States, so there's a natural synergy between Resist Trump and what I'm doing, and also I enjoy working on Resist Trump because it is definitely a fun way to resist Trump. So I'm glad to be a part of this this campaign and this podcast with you, Nev.
Awesome, cool, good to have you here, Matt. So we've got a few things that we were thinking about discussing today, y'all. There's some current news. There's some stuff that's going on with activists kind of on the ground. Matt, I want to kick it over to you. Where do you think we should get started?
I mean, the big news, I think, is Pete Hegseth and his misadventures in the Caribbean. But we could start wherever you'd like.
Let's start there. That seems like it's on everyone's mind, that we have a Department of War run by a guy who's been credibly, in my opinion, accused of a war crime.
Yeah, it just goes to show the kind of competent people that Trump has been able to attract to his administration, you know. But what we have is a pretty clear-cut case of a war crime being committed in the Caribbean by the United States military on the orders of our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, which I guess makes him a sow, as it was pointed out to me a bit ago. But you know, we're finally seeing where the red line is for for Congress to finally start acting as a check on the executive branch and on the departments that report up to Trump. And I find that interesting that, you know, all it took was, you know, some clear-cut cases of murder to make it happen, you know?
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that I believe I think it's the Navy manual explicitly used this as an example. Shipwrecked survivors and how killing them would be illegal. And that's exactly what happened.
Yep, that's right.
There seems to be some blurriness to me about the chain of command and whether it was Hegseth. The latest I've heard is that Hegseth said, kill them all. And then the admiral who was reporting to him essentially carried out that order, and maybe themselves were the ones who committed the war crime. I'm not really sure. In that they fulfilled the order after noticing that that there was a need for a second strike. I don't think that forbodes well for many members of the military, knowing that the Secretary of War is encouraging you to break international law.
Sure.
And I, as an activist and as an organizer, I see this as, frankly, an opportunity to, communicate and to build bridges with veterans and members of the armed services who are uncomfortable with following unconstitutional illegal orders.
Sure. And I also think this kind of ties back into the video that Mark Kelly and other veterans who are members of Congress made, encouraging military members to remember their oaths to the Constitution and to not obey illegal orders because they're obliged not to do so. It's a violation of the Uniform Military Code of Conduct to follow illegal orders. So this is the textbook case, right? So I think that an incident like this highlights just how lawless and how disdainful of the rule of law this administration is. And I also see it as an opportunity to speak to Republicans that consider themselves Americans first and Republicans second. And I think that dovetails nicely into the study that we were discussing a bit ago about how Republicans identify themselves when it comes to being constitutional or party first or Trump first, you know?
Yeah, they're about a third each, is what the John Hopkins study that was just released said. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, sounds like we don't have too much to disagree about this particular war crime. I thought it was interesting that I think I read that Hakeem Jeffries, the speaker or the minority speaker, said that that we shouldn't expect an impeachment of Hegseth. I thought that was really kind of knee jerk and odd. It's like, dude, do your job, man. Come on, like, come on. Maybe you don't feel that the public's behind you, but I mean, maybe you're not reading the public very well. I was just a little surprised by that.
I mean, tone deafness from inside the Beltway is not really all that surprising to me. And that's why I think it's so important for us to send a message not just to Trump, not just to his enablers, but to the people that are supposed to be holding Trump accountable. And we can do that from all over the country through various types of nonviolent resistance. We can send a message from anywhere in the country to this administration and to the people that are supposed to be doing their jobs to serve as a check.
Yeah, for sure. Lots to think about there. A couple other things that we had talked about, maybe like kind of covering in today's call, include one thing I'm really interested in just kind of hearing people's take about, which is the "We Ain't Buying It" campaign. To give everyone like an update on what that is, that was a call to action that was issued by the No Kings Alliance. If you guys haven't heard of the No Kings Alliance or participated in No Kings protests, these are mass mobilization events that have happened twice to date. No Kings 1, No Kings 2. And I think that they brought out anywhere between like 7 to 10 million people nationwide to tell the world that there are no kings in America. After No Kings 2, a kind of a loose alliance has emerged called the No Kings Alliance, of which Resist Trump campaign is a member. And we're being, we've been encouraged to promote this boycott of Amazon, Home Depot, and Target for their various kind of, acts of complicity with the Trump administration. And so in our campaign, we pushed out, some media encouraging our followers and email subscribers to not to buy from these companies over the last 5 days. And, as a campaign member, you kind of have to live that. I will say I wasn't perfect. It's never easy to be perfect. I did buy cookies from Target one of the 5 days, and I did buy a hot meal from Whole Foods one of the 5 days. And that's it, I promise.
Just one day of cookies.
Did you shop at any of these stores, or did you kind of wave at them with a fist?
I admit that there are a couple of products that I get from Amazon regularly, so I did get a few things that I wouldn't be able to buy at a store, and
yeah,
it's hard to walk the talk when it comes to this kind of thing all the time, but the fact that it's hard is one of the reasons why it's worthwhile, right?
I think so.
And if you stumble and you find yourself backsliding a little bit, it's not an excuse to just give up. It's a reason to just redouble your efforts, forgive yourself for having screwed up, and move forward. Nobody is perfect, and I don't think anybody is expecting anyone else to be perfect in this. We're all in this together,
The boycott thing has been interesting for me personally because I've never been a major participant in consumer boycotts until more recently in my life. I think the first time that I can very clearly remember boycotting something was related to Tesla long before Elon was a part of Doge. And then I was just like, this guy's nuts. And then I recently took like a week to take off my Spotify subscription and transfer all my music to this new service like called Deezer or whatever. It's like a French service. They actually had a really good, I think I've mentioned this before to several people, like they have a really good transfer process for your playlist. But I felt quite proud of myself after having moved from Spotify to Deezer. And now whenever someone plays Spotify, I just like helpfully suggest Deezer.
That's great. That's great. Maybe it would be worthwhile to put together a really simple guide for how to switch from Spotify to Deezer,
Yeah,
That,
that's a great idea.
yeah. So, I think that there are different levels of complicity with the administration. I think, for example, with Amazon, we saw Jeff Bezos show up at the inauguration, and he's been a recurring character in the backdrop of the Trump administration. I think, Target is in a kind of different situation because first they were on the receiving end of a boycott from those who support Trump for their woke policies or whatever. And then, they decided to, bow down to that pressure. And, now they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, which just goes to show that, if you're going to try and do the right thing, always try to do the right thing, because then people will not suspect you of having ulterior motives, But Amazon, Whole Foods, those are pretty clear-cut cases of companies that will take a portion of every penny or of every dollar that you spend, and a portion of it will end up in Trump's pocket, whether it's in his personal pocket or it's in his war chest for his next campaign, because he's said on more than one occasion that he wants to run for a third term. So,
Yeah.
Never mind that that's completely unconstitutional and basically impossible without breaking the law, But then again, what would you put past this guy? Nothing. That's right.
Not a single thing.
Yep. The only thing that you can trust Trump to do is the wrong thing.
Oh, that's great.
It's the truth.
So going back to some current news, we were talking earlier before the call about the tragedy of the National Guard specialist who was killed in DC. And a couple other things. Yeah. What's the latest that you've heard about that, Matt? And what's your take on it?
I mean, 2 National Guards members were attacked. One was killed. And neither of them had to be attacked because neither of them should have been deployed in Washington, D.C., which I can only conclude was the motive for the attack to begin with, was the fact that they were deployed to our nation's capital and done so with the intention of intimidating the populace. Is that the right way for us to do things? Absolutely not. Violence is never the right way to respond. But, at the same time, we can't pretend that the motives for putting them there to begin with were good, because they certainly were not. And it's right to call out the administration for having put them in harm's way to begin with. So, but the unfortunate thing is that because of this attack, the Trump administration is now using that as a pretext to make further assaults on our freedoms. We're all less safe. We're all less free because of that violent attack. And it just goes to show that the best way to resist Trump is through nonviolence. And not give them an excuse to point out something that a bad actor did and apply it to everyone else.
Yeah, and I think I read that Trump, I think initially may have blamed the shooter's presence maybe on Biden, but then I think it has
He
come
did.
out that individual who has been identified as a shooter was actually admitted under Trump's administration, which is like another interesting kind of factoid. It's like Trump let him in, and now Trump's using this incident as a pretext to like shut down immigration from like a whole host of countries.
I
Okay.
mean, does it matter who let him in, quote unquote? Like,
I mean,
I don't think
I mean,
I don't think it matters at all, honestly, because the thing is that you can't predict what anybody's going to do at any given time, but you can guess based on their past behavior. This country has rigorous, protocols for legal immigration. This guy came here legally and still did this, but you know what? This kind of thing happens in the United States. Crimes are committed by American citizens all the time. You cannot take the action of one person and apply it to an entire class or group of people. You just can't do that. And that's what Trump is trying to do by, saying this is an excuse to shut down immigration from all third world countries, which is really code for countries that don't have white people, So I hate this whole situation. I wish that none of it had ever happened, but I wish that we'd never had Trump to begin with. So
yeah.
What can you
How
do?
did we get here?
I have a long answer to that question.
Cool. All right. So what's next on our list of topics over here, Matt?
Well, I think that we've talked about a couple of things that we can pretty plainly point to the Trump administration and say these are things that they're doing wrong. But we also talked about the different types of Republicans, and some of them are Constitution first, some of them are party first. And I think that it's worth noting that the easiest way to defeat an enemy is to turn them into your friend, right? So there are opportunities here, and every day that the Trump administration continues to disregard the rule of law, violate social norms, hundreds of years of precedent, to enact a despicable agenda that only helps a small few while hurting everybody else, we can point out to these Republicans that there is a place for them in this movement. There is a place for Republicans that want to take their party back from this megalomaniacal, there we go, psychopath, because that's pretty much what he is. And it's not about accusing them of being responsible for this. That's the worst thing that you can do. The worst thing that you can do is back them into a corner and point fingers and say it's your fault that we're in this situation, because you know what? It's really not their fault. We have a system that leads us to these kind of conclusions. But what we can do is we can say what matters most is what happens next. And everybody can be a part of the solution. Everybody can be part of taking America back from fascist authoritarians and turning it back into the democracy that we all know, love, and miss.
I like that. Well, I'm going to give a couple of plugs right now. We have a few public calls that we run throughout the week that relate to today's conversation. We run a Boycott MAGA campaign call on Fridays at 11 a.m. Central Time. And we also run an Ice Out campaign, which we haven't really talked about today, on Thursdays at 11 a.m. Central Time as well. We are looking to build a distributed or a network with chapters and affiliates. And if you are interested in setting up a chapter or affiliate of your own under the Resist Trump Network umbrella, just come to one of our meetings and check us out. Check out our website, and you can get started literally by clicking a button on our website right now. It is a pleasure to speak with you today, Matt, as my co-host, and to share all this news with you, with our guests today. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.